We're moving, 3 more to go. Okay. 10F, receive a report and confirm that a weekly farmers market is consistent with the Tanforam Plan Development zoning requirements and receive update regarding the shops of Tanforam parking reduction request. Aaron.
Thank you. As the City Council knows, for the past 3 years, the Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with Pacific Coast Farmers Market, has thrown a downtown farmers market on Sunday morning. Unfortunately, in the last year, according to the Chamber, and if you've been there, the attendance had dwindled and the number of vendors had dwindled as well. The Chamber approached City staff several months ago requesting that the market be moved to Tanforam. They stated that Pacific Coast Farmers Market was unwilling to throw the downtown farmers market on Sunday mornings at this time because of the low attendance numbers and because of the low attendance numbers by the vendors. The Chamber, as well as the Pacific Coast Farmers Market, believe that by moving it to Tanforam, it will increase attendance. Now, why this is before you is that this is a planned development zone which has site-specific zoning, and this is generally zoned for a mall and the retail uses that are in a mall. What we've done in the past for other type of uses that are similar to this, which are pumpkin patches, Christmas tree lots, we've approved them at a staff level, but since this is more major in nature, we thought it was a good idea to bring it to the City Council for confirmation that this is consistent with the planned development for the zoning district. In terms of the market, it would be similar to how it was run in previous years. 9 to 1 on Sundays. It would end before Thanksgiving. The market did this because the Chamber proposed this so it wouldn't conflict with the peak shopping season as well as the peak parking time, which we'll get into as well. It would take up about 70 parking spaces. It would be just to the north of the main entrance of the mall in front of Ulta, but right next to El Camino Real. They're estimating that there would be about 50 booths at this market on average, which is more than what was in the downtown area. Now, the reason that this is here before you in conjunction, even though these are two separate items, the farmers market and the parking issue, they're also two connected items. The council may remember several years ago, after the Tanforam remodel, Tanforam mall ownership came to the City Council with a request to reduce their overall parking requirement. Now, this was being done for 2 reasons. There were a number of parking spaces that had to be removed during about 150 spaces that had to be removed during the construction phase because of new exiting requirements as well as new ADA requirements. Their existing parking space requirements are 4.5 spaces per 1,000 square feet of leasable area. This took them down to about the 4.3 range. That's what they're existing at today. They wanted to take it down to a 4.0 per 1,000 to make way if they ever had a 4th anchor so they wouldn't have to build another parking structure. We did a parking survey at that time, and the parking survey results were consistent with what mall ownership said. There wasn't a demand for that much parking. There was a demand for about, at peak season during that Christmas holiday season, for about 2.5 spaces per 1,000. That is consistent with other malls around the area, Hillsdale, some malls in the East Bay as well. But what the survey did find is that, what we've all found when we've gone to Tanforam, that there is some crowding of parking, in particular in that area in front of BJ's as well as several other areas. Because of the declining economy, however, the mall never did implement these improvements, so it never came back in front of the City Council again for final confirmation of this lower parking requirement. The mall ownership has submitted a letter, and the mall general manager has submitted a letter that they prefer not to do this. They believe that situation has changed since that time period, that two structures have opened. The cinema site parking structure is open. The J.C. Penney's parking structure is opened, and people have generally found where they're going to go because people are more familiar with the mall site. So in terms of next step, there's really 2 next steps. For the farmers market, if the council agrees that this is consistent, the immediate step would be that the community development director, myself, would issue, after a review of all departments, would issue a temporary use permit for the market to operate for 3 months. So During that 3 months, we would have the option of doing two things: going to the Planning Commission for the Planning Commission's approval for the remainder of this season would be option one, and option two would be going to the Planning Commission so that they would just approve this to be an annual market at Tanforam. Regarding the parking, rather than just approve the lower park, going forward with the lower parking requirements, staff is requesting that we do a little bit more analysis to see whether or not the assumptions that that mall ownership has made in their letter are true, and that parking is more dispersed than it was before, and that we can support a lower parking requirement without the wayfinding signage, without the valet parking that was suggested by staff and by the City Council and directed by the City Council years ago. So with that, I could take any questions.
Good. Any questions of Aaron? Michael?
It just occurred to me that looking at the map that was provided in the package, that it's either the same area or adjacent to the area where fireworks usually are sold. Is that correct?
Correct. I think fireworks may be in Tanforam. Yeah, it's in the Sears lot, so it's on the other side. This is actually in. It would be north of there is where the fireworks are actually usually sold.
And are we concerned at all about any impact about having both of these events occurring at the same? I mean, at some point they will overlap.
Yeah, they will overlap for a couple weeks. I wouldn't be concerned. I mean, generally parking, we'll have to take in consideration circulation and things like that, and that will be incorporated into the use permit. In terms of parking, I wouldn't be concerned about it. Generally, mall parking requirements are there for the top 10 shopping days of the year, and since the middle of the summer isn't those shopping, I don't think there'll be conflicts in terms of parking, but we will have to pay attention to it in terms of circulation, how people are getting in and out of the mall.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Irene? Okay.
I don't have any questions per se, or, well, first of all, I appreciate it coming to the City Council. It's good to see all the thought that has gone into this, and I agree that the valet parking is not necessary. I've had several people with other concerns, though, come to me, and I'd like to, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to address them or to add them to what you're already considering. If you look at the map, and if you look directly across, say directly west of the point of the Barnes & Noble, or next to the Barnes & Noble, where you can see the crosswalk hatch marks there. Mm-hmm. That's the only place they have them, and it's very visible. If you go directly north of that, where there is also high pedestrian crossing, and will be even more if you put the market in there, there isn't. There's just one half of
That's a good point.
So I'd like to see that increase somehow, either the similar hatch marks or something more visible. And then I also agree that people are more comfortable and know more about where to park, except for one place. If you travel south on the main road, I don't know what whatever that road is called, and as you're going south
Towards JCPenney.
toward JCPenney's, there's the aisle that is two-way traffic. Everyone else is one way, but there's the aisle that's two-way traffic that eventually gets you to the Target garage.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that that is there, that that's how you get there, or one of the ways you get there. I don't think it would be too expensive to have just a sign saying additional garage parking this way at that corner. So I'd like to see those two improvements in addition to the cones and the other small temporary types of safety devices that you're looking at. So I know it's a different concept. I think it's an exciting one. I'm sorry that it was not, this farmers market was not successful on San Mateo Avenue. That was our original concept. I know it was everyone's, and we really wanted that to succeed. It's unfortunate that it didn't. Maybe there's something else that could go down there that would attract more foot traffic for the stores. Or maybe we just look at San Mateo Avenue in a different concept than a downtown with that kind of retail. Maybe we need to start thinking of it as, a restaurant alley, or not alley, that's the wrong definition, restaurant street.
Don't say alley.
Like, yeah. So there's a lot of information, and other cities out there that have done research about small towns that have lost their traffic because of malls, and then what they do to revitalize it. And maybe small retail is not it. Maybe there's something else that we need to look at. So those are my comments.
Okay. Anyone else? All right,
Well, that was easy.
some action?
Yeah, just looking for consensus. No.
Consensus? Yeah.
Fine.
Yep. Farmers
Okay.
Market at Tanforam.
Move forward. We'll see you there.
Go for it. Thank you.
Okay. May I make one more comment? Could we
Yes.
have, after it's all over, could we have a report back on how successful it was or not, or things that
Yeah.
have come up, and, things we might need to look at the following time?
Correct. And if I could, through the chair, one question. Would the city council be more comfortable with the planning commission just approving it for the remainder of this year and not actually doing the annual thing yet, and perhaps coming back later next year to look at it again for something on an annual basis?
I would like that, just simply because we're not sure what we're getting into here. So
Okay.
I'd like to see how it works.
Yes, and Tanforam may also have comments and changes they'd like to make at the same time. So I think it should come back to us as well.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
All right.
may I make one more comment before we leave? I'd like to introduce, or have Linda stand up and introduce herself. Linda Larson is the manager of Tanforam now. She was also the former mayor and council member at City of Millbrae. So it's nice to see you back.
And do you miss sitting through a council meeting?
See, I was outside, those chairs are torture. I'm sorry. That makes your meetings nice and short. Yeah, I couldn't sit in them. No, I want to recognize all the people here. I know a lot of the faces, and just like coming home again. So it's good to see you,
Okay.
truly.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. All right. Unless Irene has another question, we'll go to 10G.